Phillip Pinion of the 77th District.
It's communities coming. We're not going to just go out here and toll a road. It's communities coming who are asking for a specific project and who say we want it, and we want it bad enough that we're willing for it to be towed. That's what I anticipate. That's what I hope. So we may be bringing legislation this year to take away just the two pilots and leave it open to where any community can come in if they've got that desire. But it would have to be from them. I've asked everyone that's come to me, I've said, bring something from your county clerk or your county commission or your city council so that we know that they are in support of it. Anything else? If not, we'll see you next week.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great opportunity to have former Representative Phillip Pinion with us, who had many tasks throughout his career and great opportunities, and it's a pleasure to be able to sit next to him and talk to him about everything that's happened over his career period. We're going to start out the show, and I'd like to welcome everybody to Donkey Punch. This is a new show we're doing to get news out about political affairs in your community and people who represent you in politics. It's a great opportunity to have you, Representative Pinion.
Thank you, Chris. Glad to be here.
Well, the first question I'd like to let the viewers know is, tell them about everything in your life that kind of brought you up to the legislature, and your mother and your father, your raising, the college you went to, and just different things that impact your life to get you to this point.
Okay, well, I guess my first interest in politics began. I was a paper boy for Congressman Robert S. Everett, Fats Everett, whose statue is now on the courthouse yard there in at the Albina County Courthouse. And in being his paper boy, he found out that my family was poor, and he just sort of took me in. He didn't have any children, and he just kind of took me in and made sure that I had what I needed. And I'd run errands for him and down at his office when he would come home from the congressional sessions. And I began to watch how he affected people's lives, even as a young boy, and I wasn't over 9, 10, 11 years old. And I realized how much good he was doing, because everybody came in there asking him for help, and he helped them. And that in itself just ingrained in me a desire to want to be of service to my fellow man. And I had the opportunity in 1969, after Congressman Everett died, when Congressman Jones was elected, I had the opportunity to move to Washington and live there the summer of '69 and work for him and his staff and remained very close to him throughout the years until his death. And after I finished high school, went to college for a couple of years, and went off to the Navy, and then came back and finished college and started a wholesale food business, which put me in contact all over the 3 or 4 counties in this area. Met all the people that run the stores and had a good relationship with them. So in 1988, Congressman Jones encouraged me to run for the legislature, because at that time Representative Tanner was going to run for Congress, which he did and was successful, of course. And so I talked it over with my mom and dad and my wife, and it just felt like that everything. I'd worked with 3 rural churches for many years and run a wholesale food business and been involved in local affairs, and it just seemed like it was the right time for me. I was young. When I got to the legislature, I was the 8th youngest member of both houses. When I retired, I was serving with people that I was old enough to be their dad. But those kind of things, from the family background that I came from, my daddy was, still is, if he ever saw a kid standing around a Coke machine, he'd buy him a Coke. He just has a big heart, and he always felt like it, taught us that we had a responsibility to do what's right, keep our word, and make a difference. And that's what we had the great honor of doing over 20 years, was serving in the legislature, and it's been a great experience, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
It seems like nowadays you're so rushed in life, people trying to make a living, and the moral of your story is the family values. It seems like we're so stressed. We're losing a lot of that today around the supper table, getting to sit there and talk. Absolutely. And know what's going on with your family. And it's just a hard situation to make a living today. When you first was elected and got your way into politics, which it sounds like your feet was wet before you even got elected and run for public service, tell us a little about how it was to adjust to actually being a new legislator, a freshman.
Well, back in those days, it's different than it is now. Back in those days, a freshman legislator was told to be seen and not heard. I spoke one time on the House floor my freshman year. That was all. Now, I did ask a lot of questions in committee, which is where the real work is done. And But I listened, I learned, I was trained by some wonderful legislators. John Bragg, who is chairman of the Finance Committee for many, many years, working with Ned McWhorter when he was governor. When I first got up there, the first 6 years I was in the legislature, Governor McWhorter served as governor. And I had the opportunity to listen and to learn. And that's one of the things that a lot of the young ones don't do today. They go up there and they think they've got all the answers, and they wind up getting themselves in trouble and many times not being very effective representatives as a result of it. So you know, in all new jobs, you need to look, you need to listen, you need to keep your mouth shut and find out how the procedure works so that you can be most effective.
That's right. And today in this community was the Democrat Party, in which throughout the political aspect of people that represent your local government, your state and county, I think we need to stop, look, and listen. We need to stop, look at our community, listen to them, see the heartaches they're going through, and try to decide what is the best opportunity to serve them people in the good-mannered way that they are the people that put you up there.
That's right.
And so we need to look at that area, and that's one thing I like to see, you know, different politicians throughout Tennessee and West Tennessee do, is take a chance and listen to the community, because they're the ones who put you up there. And you was talking about former Governor Ned Ray McWhorter. I was talking to a fellow the other day, and they was talking about the Ned Ray administration, how they worked on TDOT behind closed doors to get the numbers right. Tell me, how was it when TDOT first took effect and the impact on people's lives that you could see?
Well, TDOT was a great experiment, is what it was. And it's still working today, but it had to be tweaked. Because back in those days, it was envisioned that the more you had on it, it would be like an insurance company. The more people you had that belonged to that insurance company or that had a policy with that insurance company, the less it would cost per person. Well, it didn't turn out that way, because the people that got on TennCare, insurance companies began dropping people who were sick, who had a lot of physical needs, and so they got on TennCare. And back in those days, all you had to have was a letter from an insurance agent saying that they were uninsurable, and we got them on TennCare. Well, it literally almost broke TennCare. And so there had to be a lot of cutbacks and